Hello, and thank you so much for purchasing from Medicines by Lily. I also want to say thank you so much for being patient with me. This past week has just been severely draining. Um, I hadn't had strep throat for almost 15 years, so my body really was not happy about it. My throat is still a little bit sore, my voice is still a little bit uh, scraggly. So I apologize if you have trouble understanding me. So I'll repeat myself at the end of the video, but if you have any questions or concerns about the reading about the video, then please let me know. So I will go ahead and kind of go over what I've got out for you today. In the corner over here, as always, I have a white tea light candle burning for spirit. Your spirit, my spirit, your guides, God or goddess, just spirit in general. My beautiful selenite horn to attract positive energies. In front of that, I have a beautiful obsidian, which is a grounding stone and a protection stone, but it is also really good for divination and foresight, forethought, all of that fun stuff. I also have a beautiful fluorite for balancing energies, black tourmaline for deflecting negativity, citrine for abundance, fire agate for kind of helping you find that spark of life within you, that spark of desire and creativity. Next to that, I have my beautiful green moss agate. This one actually came from India, but I like to use this crystal as a way for connecting with the earth and for connecting to the Earth Mother and all of the creatures that dwell upon her. Next to that, I have my beautiful amethyst for psychism and clairvoyance. Next to that, I have emerald, which is really good for healing the heart and kind of opening and cleansing the heart chakra. And rainbow petrified wood, which I like to use for patience. Aquamarine for communication. It's really good for opening the throat chakra. And this is actually a rarer crystal. It's one of my newer ones, or a calcite. And the lesson that this stone brings is that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So what this stone does is that it kind of helps you realize what it is you're afraid of, and that 99.9% of our fears come from within. They come from our self-doubts. So next to that, I have a beautiful little piece of turquoise to represent the divine or spirit. And last but not least, my beautiful clear quartz crystal for clarity. And over here on the incense burner, I have its Ocean Breeze incense. When I was picking crystals and incense for your reading today, I really felt like you needed something to kind of help you feel safe, but also something that would help you feel, I don't necessarily want to say clean, but pure of spirit. And the ocean is the ultimate place for both of those things. So, as you requested, I got out the Oracle of the Dragonfey. So I will go ahead and start shuffling and hope that, and think about what it is that you need to know, what it is that you need to do, or, what it is that you need to understand at this time. just shuffling, thinking about you and what you might have going on right now, what it is that you need to be aware of, what it is that the cards really need to tell you. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to shuffle. When I'm done with my cards, I like to put them back in numerical order. So a lot of times after I do that, it takes a little longer to shuffle so the cards can get where they want to be. So I apologize. Alrighty, so the first card represents the cover of your Book of Shadows. So where does your story begin? And we have card 27. I can't pronounce his name. Shengwan? The Light of Heart. So this is where your story begins. Where I get the feeling that you bought this reading on a whim, and so in a way you're kind of making a fresh start through this reading. So this is where your story begins, kind of that childlike innocence, the need for play, for fun, the need to be around the people that you care about, just keeping the things closest to you that keep your heart light and don't really stress you out. But I also feel like there's kind of a block there where that's what you really want, but there is something in your path that's kind of keeping you from getting there completely. I don't really know how to explain it. Imagine you are standing on, or, at a fork in the road, and there are, 3 paths in front of you, and each one has a different gate. Okay? The one is just a simple, you pull the latch and you go. That's the path that everybody walks on, where we get up every day and go to work. We have to pay our bills. We've got family stress, relationship stress, all of that. And then there's another one, there's another gate that requires a little bit more effort, a little more thought. And then the third one that has a lock on it. And so where you are, I feel like you're looking at the first path that you can just walk through the gate really easy, but you're also looking at the gate that has a lock on it. But the thing to understand here, what I'm feeling is that the key for the locked gate is you already have it, but you haven't found it yet. So this is where your story begins, is you're kind of at that really weird place where you need to make some decisions. But it's important to remember to be kind of upbeat and positive, and don't take things too seriously while you're making those decisions. So our next card represents your present situation, the book blessing. And we have the Guardians, fly high. Number on this card is 40. So reduced, that's 4, which is the ultimate number for balance. It's the number of elements. It's a wonderful number for balance. And the fact that it is 40, so 40, tells me that it is amplified quite a bit. But anyway, I digress. So your present situation, where you're at, like I said, those 3 pathways that you have, there's the one that you can go through fairly easily and, just keep walking. And then there's the second one with the puzzling latch. And then the third one that has the lock. I think the decision that is in front of you is deciding which gate you want to try to open. So do you want to take the easy route and just keep going the way that you have been going? Or do you want to put a little bit more thought and effort into it and kind of lift yourself up by your bootstraps, more or less? Or do you want to take the third route, which would require even more effort on your part? More spirit work, because like I said, you have the key, you just haven't found it yet. So really it depends on which path you want to take. But either way, where you're at right now, regardless of the decision you make, which path you decide to take, you will be able to more or less advance from there into whatever it is that you have been planning on. One of the things that I recommend to pretty much all of my clients is to keep a goal journal. Whatever your biggest goals are, try to break those down into smaller goals. So that one, you have multiple things to celebrate in your life at any given time. Excuse me. But also so that you can kind of track where you are and where you're going exactly. So you can track it exactly. And honestly, it feels really good when you complete your first set of goals, and then the second set, and then the third set, and then finally get to that big goal. For example, I like to write, so I would eventually like to publish a book. And so I have my goals broken down into rough draft, editing, send that draft to a professional editor, and then look over it one more time myself so I have the final draft, and then submit it for publication. Okay? So, when you break up your goals like that, you give yourself wiggle room, and you give yourself chances to celebrate small victories and just kind of appreciate, give yourself an appreciation for the road that you're on. So where you're at right now, regardless of the path that you choose, you can succeed, you can fly high, you can find that sense of victory and freedom depending on the choices you make after that. So like I said, you're kind of it feels like you're kind of at a crossroads right now, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So our next card represents your creation story. So where do you want your story to go? And we have card 39, the Blue Lady. Nothing is impossible. So I absolutely love this card. I love when she shows up in a reading for me, but I also love when she shows up in a reading for a client. The Blue Lady, I always feel like she has a really deep connection to the water sources of the earth, to the rivers, to the oceans, to the creeks and the natural ponds and lakes and all of that. Because water is such a malleable element that it kind of gives us the sensation that nothing is impossible, and that is the Blue Lady's message. Whatever you want to do, know that it is within your grasp. It may take more work than you anticipate at first, but it is there. It is within reach. In terms of where your story is going to go, she is not a direct answer. She's more of the Blue Lady is more of a message that it's up to you. That wherever you are right now, ultimately it's up to you. But dream big, dream big for yourself. Think large. Don't just settle. And that's where your story will go, is where you intend it to go. So, okay, our next card represents what you truly believe in. And we have card 36, Wu Wang, Wild Pure Heart. So I feel like you are already very, very close to the Earth realm, that you are very close to the Earth Mother and all of her children, especially the Fae folk, which is very good. That will actually kind of help you when you start this journey to wherever it is you decide you want to go. Excuse me. And so with this card, what I feel is your true beliefs stem from your experiences. So, for example, trees are my allies. And so when I am near any kind of tree, when I'm outside and standing next to any tree, I feel the presence of spirit. I feel the presence of the Earth Mother. And I can feel every living creature in the same instance. And so I feel like this is your experience turned into a belief system, which is really very, very, it's something to be proud of. And it's something that a lot of people envy. Maintain that wild and pure heart, that curiosity, that need to learn and to experience, and you'll get there. You will build a proper belief system specifically for you. I feel like right now you've pretty much just started on it, even though it may have been something that you started years ago. I feel like you're still in the first stages of forming your personal belief system. So the next card represents what you are attracting to you. And we have card 12, Ain and the Guardian, Born Innocent. So Ain is actually a Celtic goddess, and if I remember correctly, she is a warrior, much like Athena or Artemis. But one thing I've noticed with Celtic goddesses is that they possess both masculine and feminine energies. And as you can see on this card, you have Ain and her dragon guardian. Dragon is a masculine energy. So what you are attracting right now is a sense of balance. Let me look at this again. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, what you're attracting right now is a form of balance. You're on this crossroads, you're building your own personal belief system and kind of reaching for your goals right now. And so this is what you're attracting simply by following your truth. This card is technically a reminder that you are born without sin. I don't want to get too much into various beliefs here, but everybody is born without sin. Yes, we all bear, memories or feelings from past lives and things like that, but we are all born without sin. We are all born innocent. And so when life throws us, hardballs as we're growing up, we start to lose the balance between life and the afterlife. We kind of start to lose that innocence. And so what you're attracting right now, simply by following the path that you've chosen for yourself, is you're kind of getting yourself back into that balance, that place where you have no real sin, if that makes any sense. So our next card represents your blessings to be counted. And we have card 31, the Dawn Watcher. Bells will ring. So what I feel from this card, your greatest blessing is your intuition, that gut instinct. Because the Dawn Watcher actually represents collective intuition, collective consciousness. And his message is that bells will ring, which means that if you pay attention, the universe will give you signs. You just have to know, you have to know discernment. You have to understand when something is a sign and when it is not. And so this is your greatest blessing, is the intuition that you were gifted with upon birth. So our next card represents your guides. So who or what is guiding you on your path at this time? And we have card 37, Gaius Dragon, Divine Union. So Gaia is just another form of the Earth Mother. And what this card represents, in a lot of pagan traditions, we have the mother and the father. And when they come together, the earth grows, babies are born, the sick are healed. I mean, miracles happen. And so I believe that the Earth Mother herself, Gaia herself, is guiding you. And her partner, which in this deck is a dragon, but her partner, the masculine, is guarding you on your path. So while Gaia leads you, her partner guards you. So, excuse me, our next card represents your patron god. And we have card 13. The Lady Alfreda, justice will prevail. So, technically, this is a Fae queen, in a way, Fae princess. But the first deity that came to my mind was Morrigan. The second deity that comes to mind is, oh gosh, I can't think of her. I can see her, but I can't think of her name. Hecate. Morrigan is the Celtic goddess of war, but if you actually, look through the different legends and all that, you see that she possesses both masculine and feminine qualities. She is a warrior. She guides the deceased into the underworld, or the other world, but she also possesses great love and compassion, as she is a woman. Hecate, I don't really know that much about. I've never worked with her, but I know that she resides in the realm of darkness, which is exactly what I see on this card. Your matron goddess, your patron is a god or goddess that resides in the realm of darkness. Not evil, but darkness. Almost like Hades in the other world. I mean, stories depict him as evil, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Do some work and kind of do some research and meditate, find out who it is that watches over you, that helps kind of guide your path. I mean, Gaia over here is guiding you on that path, but your patron and matron deities guide the path for you, not guide you while you're on the path. And so like I said, I'm not getting any deities in particular, but I am seeing kind of that darker side, like a new moon. And justice. She represents justice. So maybe Morrigan is the one that's trying to speak to you. One of the tales that you could look up for her, if you've never worked with her before, is The Washer at the Ford. That it's kind of a mix between a love story and a war song, or a love story and a war story. But within that one story, you can see both sides to Morrigan. The dark goddess of death and war, but also the light woman, the light goddess that is very caring and motherly and really has a lot of love to give. So like I said, just do some meditation and research and just kind of find out which gods and goddesses you are attracted to, even if you don't believe that they are separate entities from spirit. Even just focusing on their particular energies will kind of help guide your path in the direction that you want it to go. So our next card represents your matron goddess. And we have card 43, Fernia, Clarity. So with this card, I mean, I feel like your matron and patron cards got switched. Where with the patron card, we got a female, and with the matron card, we got a male. The the lady on this card obviously is female, but I'm feeling more of a draw towards the green man. Karen, oh gosh, Keranos, I think is how it's pronounced. Pan, any of those gods that work through the earth and through the earth's creatures. So I think that this is another one that you will probably have to do some meditation and research on, to kind of find out where they want you to be, where they want you to go. Our matron and patron gods and goddesses, they, like I said, they don't necessarily guide you on the path because they want you to retain your free will and, freedom of choice, but they guide the path for you. So, for example, my matron goddess is Kuan Yin. Okay, she's actually a Chinese god, I believe. But when I have a major goal in mind, I meditate on it and I ask her for help. And so she steers my path in that direction. But I am always given a set of choices before actually getting to the end of that particular road. And so, in the same way, once you know who your matron and patron gods are for sure, you can do the same thing. Say, this is where I want to be. I need you to set it up so I can get there, more or less. But, okay. So, it's not the last card, but we're getting into the totem cards now. So, the message from your totem animal. We have card 28, Dristan. Look beneath the surface. So the first animal that I think of with this card is Peacock, which I know probably is a little out there, but Peacock represents beauty and how we define beauty, how we define it. Peacock can also represent vanity and the need to look beyond the physical, which is exactly what this card is telling you to do. I'm sure that there are a few other animals out there. For example, a raccoon who wears a black mask around his eyes. Basically, keep in mind that looks can be deceiving. Like I said, the first animal that I thought of was peacock. So what you might want to do is kind of do some meditation on Peacock and what his message is and what his medicine is, what his power is, more or less. But also, in terms of your matron and patron gods, look up Peacock and see which deities Peacock was held sacred by. Like, I was talking about Morrigan earlier. Raven is a sacred animal to Morrigan. So you would look up and find out who Peacock was held sacred to. I almost feel like there's a connection to Aphrodite, but I'm not sure. Me personally, I do not seek out deities. I let them come to me. So, but whoever is around you right now, they're not revealing themselves to me. I'm getting the very distinct feeling that you are the one that needs to remove the mask and find out who they are. And like I said, looking at Peacock may help with that quite a bit. So our next card represents message from your totem tree. And we have card 1, Melusine. I think is how it's pronounced. Love who you are. Let me look at this one more time. Trying to see what kind of, not feathers, what kind of leaves she has in her hair. They almost look like maple. But, anyway, so this particular dragon phase message is love yourself before you can love anybody else. Celebrate your little inadequacies, your flaws. Celebrate the good things about you. Celebrate everything. Just love who you are, because you're the only one like you. You are the only version of you that there will ever be. So, the tree that I'm actually, I'm seriously feeling oak energy here. Oak and pin oak, just the entire oak family. There might even be a maple standing in there somewhere. But oak is a pillar of strength. And oak relies on itself rather than its neighbors for its own nourishment. But if maple is standing next to it as well, maple is a reminder. Maple also reminds us to love ourselves first. Because if you don't love yourself and take care of yourself first, you're never going to be able to truly love and take care of someone else. So, the next card is your totem crystal message. And we have card 15, the Dragon Fae Goddess Tiamat. You are stronger than you think. So, Tiamat, if I remember correctly, is a water goddess. And if you remember the beginning of this reading, I actually brought up the importance of water within your path, because it's such a malleable and transformative and also purifying element. Excuse me. Let me take a better look at this card. So the staff in her hand looks like it has a sun on it, a sun symbol. And her hair is flaming red. So what I'm thinking is either sunstone or carnelian. What I saw throughout all of this reading is that you are at a crossroads and you are at a place where you're kind of finding that balance of life again. And since you are female, it might do you some good to carry a masculine energy stone with you, such as sunstone or carnelian. Sunstone I don't really use a whole lot, except to connect to the power of the sun and the divine masculine. But carnelian, it's a really beautiful orange stone, and it, here, I'll actually show you what it looks like, if I can find it. There we go. It's actually a really beautiful orange crystal, and really that's all there is to it. It's just that really pretty orange. There are some places where it might be a little bit darker, with imperfections and all that, but carnelian is actually really good for kind of kickstarting your creativity and kind of delving into your lower chakras. So that more masculine energy where you have that connection to your spirit fire and, you know, your creativity, your survival instincts, all of that. So just be aware that, I'm going to look at this again. Yeah, carnelian and sunstone are also symbols of strength. So just be aware that on, while you're standing at this crossroads, you have everything that you need, but it's finding that balance in your life and in your spirit that's going to be the key that unlocks the paths that you want to go down. And so your crystal message is simply that you have what you need and you are stronger than you think. And like I said, I feel like carnelian or sunstone. So if you've never worked with those crystals before, give it a try. They might do you a lot of good. Alright, our last card is the final page in your Book of Shadows. So, what the future may hold for you. Keep in mind that this card, the outcome may change depending on your decisions and which path you decide to follow. And we have card 24, Endel, Emotional Flow. So what I just said was that that the future may change, and this card just made a liar out of me. I feel like it doesn't really matter which path you decide to go down, as long as your end goal remains the same. You will get there. It just depends on how much you want to accomplish on the road there and how much energy you're willing to put into it. Does that make sense? I also feel like I need to talk about the number on the card. It's 24. 24 reduced is 6, which is the ultimate number for, motherhood and patience and compassion and nurturing growth, all of that fun stuff. I mean, it doesn't necessarily indicate motherhood, but it indicates everything that comes along with it. When this number is broken apart, 2 can represent either increase or division. So really it just depends on, 1, your perspective, and 2, the choices that you make when working with the number 2. The number 4, like I said, is balance. So the number 24 here, what you're doing is you're going from a place of division and imbalance into a place of balance. But it's going to take a lot of work on self-care, self-love, paying attention to your gut instincts, all of that, and finding out really who it is that is on your side, spirit-wise, but also pay attention to the people around you. Pay attention to their words and their actions. Pay attention to the voice in your head that speaks to you, that voice where you speak to yourself. And try to keep positive, try to keep your emotions open, not really wearing your heart on your sleeve, so to speak, but keep an open heart and an open mind. And you'll end up exactly where you want to be. So I really hope that this reading helped. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. I thank you again for purchasing from Medicines by Lily, and thank you so much for your patience. So I wish you luck on your path, and blessed be.